to then be revealed that Rich was reading from a senior article while interjecting some of his opinions. His channel covered a wide range of topics, now even adapting the commentary tropes of the time, like commentary over footage of an unrelated game. Because of the undisclosed nature of his channel, his views were hardly consistent. Most videos hovered around 5,000, but some reached hundreds of thousands of views. With Rich increasing his output, now nearly a video a day in late 2012, his views were slowly but surely starting to pick up. Being that he did a face reveal that same year meant that in 2013 he did not shy away from creating vlogs. But Rich was unsatisfied with the equipment he was using. The camera specifically was not HD and had a very low frame rate. And if he did make more vlog-style videos, he could negate the possibility of copyright claims that came from using gameplay footage. What Rich wanted was a new high-definition camera. This is what inspired the video, I Need Your Help, which has long since been removed from his channel, but archived third-party compilations that demonstrate how catastrophic not so much this video was, but the endless responses and poor handling of what should have been a simple situation.
Yes, I know I'm going to be called an e-beggar no matter what I say, but I'm doing this with a twist that no one else has done, because I don't just want your friggin' money. I really don't. I honestly don't. What do I need? I need a camcorder for the show, straight up. Using gameplay footage, I'm constantly dealing with getting copyright claims on my videos.
Rich goes on to explain how he would avoid the title e-beggar by donating the $500, which is the amount he was seeking for the camcorder, a year after he receives the funds, to a charity of his audience's choice. What's more, if the donation goal is exceeded, he will refund any of that excess money. This is overly complicated. Even for 2013 YouTube, that was less accepting of creators petitioning for money or earning it through sponsorships. The depths that Rich was going to just avoid being called an e-beggar, something only the smallest sections of his audience would even care about, exposed that as an insecurity and point that he could easily be pressured by, easily pulled from.
The only people that pissed me off, and I expected it, is when people said they donated, and I would see the same small group of trolls, like going around and attacking people.
It did not take long for Rich to get that money via donations. He even bought a cheaper camera that was about $140 less than expected. But he made the mistake of addressing the trolls and the BBC.
So I went out and bought a new tool. A Sony HDR 260D. And let me tell you right now, it is a phenomenal camera. And I bought this with my own money. How about that?
That was the Blackbuster critic. While he did not mention Rich or Review Tech USA by name, he did expose the criticism that he knew bothered Rich. This was bait, and Rich readily took it.
It's your old buddy Rich from Review Tech USA, or Review Beg USA. You've had some colorful things to say about me. Let's just do it the good old-fashioned way and debate it live on Skype and see how it goes. Offer's on the table, buddy. Hopefully you accept.
Not only did Rich flub this situation by taking the bait, he also challenged the BBC to a debate, which the BBC readily accepted.
Well, I said to be applied to a lot of people, but this one particular person personally came to my video and was talking trash. And if you want to come out and Skype me and debate like you say you do, and I know plenty of things, plenty of questions to ask you, which you're going to goof up on. Just like in our last debate, how I led you by the hand like a child encountering your own points, that's what's going to happen again.
This debate did not come as Rich failed to show, but he did release a video showing that he did purchase the camcorder and did not pocket the donations. While the BBC continued to respond, what was more important was that Rich's responses and continually addressing the drama was inviting more and more trolls that Rich was responding to.
Master Flex, everyone out there who is deeply concerned about what I'm doing, you need to, don't go into the whole thing, oh, I'm trolling, I'm just mind messing with you. You personally messaged me, told me to calm down. It's flattering, bro, it really is. I'm glad, just make a video once in a while proving that you have a life and put a woman in your thumbnail, and we'll all be impressed by what you do.
Even the videos showing the receipts for the donations were directed towards his trolls rather than his supporters.
All I can say is, I'll never do it again. I mean, I hope this proves now that I wasn't trying to, you know, scam anybody or do anything under the table or be unethical. And for everyone out there who's going to go into the whole thing now, that I was just looking to get a tax break on my taxes. Do you really think I didn't even think of that until after people said it. Do you really think I would have went through all this crap to save 30 or 40 bucks over a year from now?
It turned out that Rich owning this new camcorder and all the turmoil that Rich invited was for naught.
I like the gameplay footage better. It's more laid back, you know, don't, like 90% of people in the comment section are like, yeah, just, you know, keep it gameplay footage and, use the camera for other things with ReviewTech USA. I'm like, oh, okay.
This information came from a video where Rich announced that YouTube was now his full-time job. Though it grew steadily for the past 3 years, it was not until now that his YouTube channel was outperforming his job in terms of pay. And with all his time placed in his channel, the results were immediate. Month after month, his views kept doubling as his output of videos increased like never before. Everything increased. His revenue, his views, and the trolls that increasingly targeted Rich.
Okay, real quick, below is my real ReviewTech USA Twitter account. I don't even really like Twitter. What I found out in my YouTube comment section is someone made a fake ReviewTech USA account and was going around saying very, very colorful things on Twitter.
That was only a minute-long video addressing a fake Twitter account, but rants about his trolls kept seeping into videos that hardly needed to involve them.
You're the smartest person on the planet. Doesn't matter how well-spoken you are, anything, you are going to deal with trolling, and it is going to get to you.
This is a point-blank kill.
Video. Discussion of trolls takes up about 1/3 of it. And though Rich states that no one is infallible when it comes to trolling, only 2 minutes later he states that he is.
The why trolls don't get to me, because I know exactly what their motivation is. They're pathetic people.
The story Rich is telling is one of a troll that was going through hardship and was taking the frustration out of Rich. From this, he deduces trolls are pathetic, unwittingly inviting their company and encouraging their existence.
Something constructive instead of, hanging out with your wife or girlfriend or family, or just going out and doing something else. You think it's a better idea to go on the internet to try to aggravate or piss off or insult someone else. That's the lamest excuse I've ever heard. That's the most pathetic thing I've ever heard.
Not everyone that increases their output of content sees increases in adverse effects. But that was exactly what was going on with ReviewTech USA still. More strong opinions, news stories that were not as accurate as they should have been, more reasons to dislike him.
Now, I will say, the issue I'm about to talk about was resolved, but it was after I screamed like a lunatic and was raging, and it shouldn't have been this way. I was not happy with the customer service I received, and that's why I'm making this video, and I gotta call him out.
This was the start of a series of videos that showcased how Rich was at the center of his problems, molding minor inconveniences into something larger, then directing them to a general audience who would typically diagnose Rich as the issue. In this video, Rich discusses an issue with the return of the graphics card, the GTX 770, to the vendor Newegg. Not because there was anything wrong with it, but because he wanted a different card. A slight upgrade, which was the GTX 780. This is an extremely minor upgrade. Regardless, Rich went through with it and sent the card back, including a voucher for Arc Origins. This, Rich details, was taped to the outside of the card box, not the shipping box. Being that it was still outside, there is a possibility that it was lost when unpackaged at Newegg. For this reason, Rich's refund was initially voided.
As soon as she said she was returning the item to me, I saw red. Okay, this is a $450 friggin' card that's being bounced all over the country, and I lost it. I started screaming, "This is fucking bullshit. Are you fucking kidding me? I've been a customer with Newegg for years, and I'm getting an item returned over a piece of paper. I thought everything was, what UPC code are you talking about? This is absolute bullshit. I can't believe I'm being treated like this." And the thing the whole time, she's like, "Listen, sir, I'm sorry. Listen, sir, I'm sorry. Listen, sir, I understand why you're upset, sir." While I'm screaming, which also irritated me, I'm like, "Stop talking over me."
Rich goes on to say he did not regret his outburst, and he did get that refund. And even though he got his way in the end, he still believes Newegg is majorly at fault.
The bottom line is that is not a way to treat a customer.
While Newegg did incorrectly void the return, it was Rich's demeanor and rage at a service employee that was not responsible for the mishap that displeased his audience. Additionally, this was seen as boasting, with Rich likely seeing himself as someone who was stalwart in the refund he deserved, rather than tearing down an employee who was restricted from making an equally egregious report, therefore defenseless. The top comment of this video reads, quote, "Don't lose it with frontline personnel, it's not their fault. They get paid a shitty wage to protect their supervisors and managers from the public. Rip into supervisors and managers by all means, that's different." Unquote. The majority of comments echo this sentiment, while others comment about the chaotic harvesting of dirt in the Minecraft footage being played, likely because his brother was responsible for recording the footage.
Found the meltdown
Rich then
of,
posted one of the longer negative responses he got onto his Facebook. Not once, but twice. This was only one of the videos that was poorly received in October of 2013. The second was titled PS4/Xbox One Launch Disaster Imminent. Please share.
I got all of this information from very reliable sources, okay? Yeah, I'm just gonna call them little birds. I can't even give you their gender, because if you found out any information about them, or if a big company found out any information, they would be screwed and blacklisted, and I would be screwed along with them.
Rich plays into how high profile his source is, and then breaks down all that he was told.
Well, I have some bad news for all the guys who were hating on the Xbox One, but it's gonna be 720p on both the PS4 and Xbox One. So what are my thoughts on all this information? Well, I hope the sources that I have are wrong.
There were a few speculations in that video that were on the wilder side. Luckily, Rich got his wish granted. A user sent Rich's video to Shuei Yoshida on Twitter, then the unexpected happened. Yoshida, the president of Sony, responded with 2 words directed at Rich: "So stupid." Besides being humiliated by the president of Sony, nothing much happened. Rich did warn of the possibility that the information may not be 100%, and his continued success overshadowed whatever negative attention he got. It took only 6 months after this for him to hit 200,000 subscribers, and like his 100,000 sub video, when discussing his channel, Rich talks quite a bit about trolls and drama. This time the discussion took up about half of the video.
Don't let the drama get to you, because once you go down that path of getting defensive and making videos defending your honor, quote unquote, you're down that slippery slope, and sometimes you can't get back up from it.
To direct entertainment in a way that reflects what the audience wants to see, rather than to vindicate the creator, is sage advice.
Don't make your personal problems become part of your channel. You can't, man. You gotta keep your personal problems off. And if you're having problems that you just don't feel like making a fucking video, don't make a video.
This is the safest route to content creation. But does Rich have the willpower or stability to follow through?
I took down the Patreon account, and many of you are going to wonder why. Some of you think I was trying to sweep it under the rug, which is another reason why I wanted to make this video, because no, here, this video is staying up, and people will know that I had a Patreon campaign posted temporarily.
For a period, Rich had a Patreon active in 2014. Its purpose was to make his videos ad-free, but it vanished as quick as it went up.
The second reason, and this is honestly the straw that broke the camel's back, the second reason that I took down my Patreon account is the same people, advertisement videos, like say when I had an unboxing for Dollar Shave Club or Loot Crate, so on and so forth, were the same people who were also complaining about me doing the Patreon campaign. I do a YouTube commentary channel where I comment on news and talk about my opinions and have a fucking blast doing it. And if that pisses you off, they either mean one of 2 things. You're delusional or you're jealous. And if you are jealous, you need to get out of the house more.
This video was released only 6 months after his 200,000 subscriber video. It shows that the innocuous claims of e-begging still holds power over him. It also shows that, contrary to the Newegg video, he is not stalwart in his beliefs or what he does. This was a major criticism as shown in the comments of this video. Quote, "Please never get involved with politics. What a flip-flop. I am disappointed in you, Rich. I thought you were made of stronger stuff than this. Why take down your Patreon account? Because you're afraid of trolls? Newsflash, trolls will always exist." Unquote. On that same note, the following month, Rich released a similar video, a parody titled, "A Review Tech USA Hater Tries Video Game News."
Yo, what's going on, man? My name is Steve, and I'm here to expose that fat fuck, that piece of shit, e-begging piece of shit, Review Tech USA, and expose him for the fucking bitch that he is. Alright, so watch how easy it is to do news stories like that fat white Uncle Phil looking motherfucker does. Look, watch how easy it is. So I have an article right in front of me. Okay, this Blizzard donates World of Warcraft pet sales to Hulu.
In the comments, Rich claims this was a parody for a different YouTuber. Being that Rich has shown himself to react poorly to his own trolls made this video seem in poor taste. The comments are either remarking Rich as brilliant or just childish for releasing this video. Quote, "You say that don't give trolls what they want, or just ignore the haters. And then you make this? I like your videos, but this was just pathetic." Unquote. This was on top of exposing the ease of reading articles as the center of his job, but in the parody was making it more difficult. This was not the flood. It was only a few days later that Rich received 2 troll copyright strikes claiming that they owned the explosion of Red Beam in their intro. It was clear it was a troll because the channel that had reported him had clips of the BBC debating Rich.
The video's now gone because they got caught with their pants down. They probably deleted it right away, which, sad day for you is that when you delete a video, YouTube still has it in their database. So when this claim goes through, or this counterclaim goes through, they're going to look into that. They deleted the video though, so no one could see it.
As an additional response, Rich directs his viewers to his second channel, seen in the description. As Rich periodically addressed the trolls and gave them more power, they continued to grow and expand their list of tactics. In around 2015, they clung on to possibly the strangest campaign of trolling they'd ever used. One that's absurdist attracted those joining for the humor and the absurdity, and others that saw it as a true calling.
Hello, comrades. I would like to present the Big Cheese Anthem. I encourage you to keep hitting the channel and fighting for Big Cheese.
He thought that he could get away with taking $200 from Big Cheese.
This is Big Cheese reporting in. I want you guys to stop trolling, the guy that did me wrong.
I decided to do the decent thing. I made a change.org petition to have Review Tech USA sponsor Hawk.
Stop messaging me saying to stop something that I had nothing to do with at all. I had nothing to do with it.
Come with me, because what I'm doing is 100% legal.
Son of a bitch.
This outcry against Rich, circa 2015, was because of a deal that went wrong between content creator Big Cheese and Rich. As Rich had begun taking sponsors for his videos, Big Cheese inquired about a spot for his channel. The prior deal involved a laptop and things went smoothly. Continuing their dealings, Big Cheese then sent Rich a desktop. The deal was for 3 sponsor spots a week for what was assumed to be 6 months and an additional $200 payment made to Big Cheese in December 2014. There were issues with the computer's CD drive, but both parties were happy to continue the deal.
Today's video was brought to you by Big Cheese's YouTube channel. For gameplay reviews, gaming, music, and vlogs, subscribe to Big Cheese BG. Link below in the description.
This was an placement for Thanksgiving week. Already, Rich had filled the comments of 3 sponsors a week. That's when Big Cheese reached out, inquiring what happened. Rich states that the holiday has somehow affected his ability to add placements. Big Cheese shook it off, and was pleased to find that Rich was adhering to their deal to 3 sponsors the following week. But that was it. Even though the 10th of December had come, Rich was reluctant to deliver those $200. Instead offering Big Cheese an additional 6 months of promotion. That, or he sends the pieces back, which Big Cheese would have paid before. Either way, Rich made it clear he was not getting the agreed upon $200, emphasizing that other companies were paying thousands for the sponsorship spots and that it was not worth his time. The conversation then devolved alongside the deal. Big Cheese made the statement that Rich was going back on his word, which Rich refuted. As Big Cheese replied, attacks on Rich's character was a sore spot.
But when I said something about that financial crisis, when I tell you he flipped on me, he went ham. Hewitt First off, no financial crisis. Secondly, don't give a shit to keep the machine and pay our money out on Uber. That's going to be smart. You get back your product and there's no contract. You seem like a man who was broken, desperate since we are calling out people's financials, but sadly that's not my problem. So before I say something really nasty, bite your tongue. You get your computer and take virtually no financial losses. You know, the half-working computer you sent me. Don't get smart with me, boss, because I'm not in the mood. Let me know what you want to do.
After a lengthy back and forth with threats of litigation in the conversation, Rich posted this on his public Facebook. But only Big Cheese at the time knew who it was directed at.
I'm a nice guy, but I'm not a pushover, and if you try to screw me over business-wise, I will legally stomp you and smile while doing it. Just a word of advice. Rich, bruh, you're playing the victim once again. You are a victim, an emotional victim.
This was all compiled in Big Cheese's video calling Rich out for going back on his word. Rich, rather than pay those $200 and diffuse the building tension, uploads his own video to counter Big Cheese.
So you get back anything, you lose no money minus shipping, and you get months upon months of free advertising, and you're trying to turn this into me being like a scandalous thief? Go to hell, dude. This is the last video I'll make on it. I don't care who else makes responses. I know people. I was going to keep this private like it should have been, but since you wanted to make it into a shit show, so be it. I'm sure this is going to be an e-drama thing that everyone's going to jump on the bandwagon with, but this is the only video I will make about it.
Without any encouragement from Big Cheese himself, this disagreement alone birthed the Big Cheese Crusaders. Random users that formed under this drama in order to go after Rich in whatever ways they could. Rich saw only a glimpse of the chaos to come and buckled under the pressure.
I paid Big Cheese, and I guess I do owe him an apology. Even though I was willing to send back the product, I guess he was depending on the money that I was going to send him, and it kind of blindsided him.
Though the feud was ostensibly over, in reality it had shifted between fans and detractors of Rich, some still under the Big Cheese Crusaders. Whenever Rich would slip up in a video, they were certain to catalog it.
I actually truly feel that I owe Anita Sarkeesian an apology. Here's what I mean. Mr. Repzion, he's a pretty big channel on YouTube.
Videos like Rich's apology to the highly disliked Anita Sarkeesian over threats she was receiving, or just an ill-informed video about how DirectX 12 compatibility works. Comments disparaging Rich would soon become the least of his worries, as a new hell would overshadow them all. Around April of 2015, a channel going under Review Hell USA was persistent in the ruination of Rich, seeking to affect not only his reputation, but also cancel his convention showings and successfully scared away his sponsors. Though it looked like this person wasn't the only one interested in threatening Rich beyond what was typical.
This is when shit goes too far. I deal with trolling on a daily basis. I deal with nonsense on a daily basis. I've been DDoS attacked or denial of service attacked on Twitch, so on and so forth. But the message that you're seeing here, the still, is a message that I received on Facebook. When you threaten me is when shit gets real.
The purpose of this threat was to both scare Rich and cancel his convention showing. But as Rich draws on, a claim he makes about the advice given from law enforcement is not so believable.
So I actually asked the officer if I should make a video about what happened, and he said, yeah, it would be a good idea. It could give us more information. It could help us get a lead quicker. So I'm actually asking you guys for some help.
It was this line that had viewers questioning if Rich was lying. This sentiment was shared on Drama Alert that was reporting the story.
Now, Tech USA said that he went to the police and the police told him to make a video so people try to find this person. It seems like a little bit of a stretch. I'm not the only one that thinks it's a stretch. A lot of people have been uploading videos to YouTube claiming that this is just a hoax for exposure.
Whatever the case, Rich on his Facebook was firing back, claimed that the trolls that went after him will be made an example of. Quote, how this shit is handled on the internet has to be changed, and I'm gonna make that change happen. They know I have info and are scared, and they should be. The anonymity of the internet should not be a safe haven for harassment. Unquote. Those seeking Rich's demise were confident, enough so that they came forward claiming that they were the ones that sent the threat.
We have Lizard Squad here today, and we also have Review Tech USA. Why did you guys make the death threat? Why did you get him kicked from this event? Don't you think that's going too far?
No, it wasn't going too far. It was actually our associate Daryl Boot who called up too many games and told them basically what would happen if he attended the event.
Whether it was from the infamous hacking group, Lizard Squad, Review Hell USA, or any other of Rich's trolls, his harassment only escalated as more users were coming out to attack him, which Rich continued to address. Little did they know, Rich was more than willing to sink to their level.
Okay, so the sponsor that came up to me fairly recently, and I'm excited as hell that we're working together, is called shadowsgovernment.com. These guys work with digital forensics, online psychological criminal profiling, and the one I'm going to be talking about the most, okay, is cyber criminal investigation.
Shadow's Government was a self-proclaimed white hat hacker. These are deemed ethical hackers who try to expose security vulnerabilities for the companies or individuals they serve or take contracts with. As much as anonymity is valued in this space, Todd Nicely, the person behind Shadow's Government, wasn't so anonymous.
Todd Nicely was arrested after impersonating a doctor at Somerset Community Hospital. But he says there's more to the story. Todd was a patient when he wondered just how secure the hospital is, both physically and technically. He runs an online conglomerate of computer hackers from all over the world called Shadows.
As it was quickly found out, Nicely also had several criminal convictions, mostly related to drug possession and driving, whether it be under the influence or with a revoked license. Rich had promoted a convicted criminal for reasons that soon became apparent when Shadows sent out a bounty. Quote, Shadows putting out a bounty on their heads, easy money. Announcement, $200 for docs on the following. Big Cheese Crusaders bullshit group. They usually go by Review Hell USA, Review Mussolini, or Review something or other, unquote. While this is hard to verify with complete certainty as it only exists through screenshots and videos, there is other information that has yet to be wiped, like this Facebook post that can still be found on Rich's Facebook. Quote, I would like to thank Anonymous, Predator, and Shadow's Government for helping me proactively identify and locate Redacted, aka Review Hell USA. Excellent work, and I can't express my gratitude enough. Unquote.
Here is what happened with that. I forgot about it. I swear on my son I forgot about it. I would even mention that in that Twitch video. There was a guy on YouTube who was bothering my family and I, to the point that I had to get authorities involved. I'm not going to go into details. Basically, they threw their hands up and there was nothing they could really do. Someone said, which ended up being him, that I have that guy's information. Maybe this will put a stop to him. So I was like, okay. I mean, I kind of thought it was bullshit, but I'm like, all right, I'll put it out there.
Archived is Rich posting the pastebin of Review Hell USA. Quote, someone sent me a possible dox of the psycho that has been relentless on me. I didn't ask for it, and I strongly question its legitimacy. But what the hell? I'm tired of this prick. Unquote.
I never doxed anybody. That was the funny thing. I never looked up anyone's information or did anything to get anybody's information. That was just handed. That is all it was. I personally did not get anyone's information. So, it is what it is.
Rich seems confused on what doxing is. Obtaining information is not doxing. Releasing it is doxing. The severity varies on the intent and widespread of the information. Contrary to popular belief, doxing can be a crime. In the US, it is classified as cyberstalking and is exactly what Rich was doing. Specifically, posting information or spreading rumors about the victim on the internet or hiring private investigators. After Rich committed this crime, due to the reaction, he took it down, as explained in this Facebook comment. Quote, don't get it, people were freaking out. I wasn't threatening the person in the docs, and I wasn't the one who compiled it. But due to the reaction, I took it down. I really just wanted to see if anyone knew anything. Unquote. Now late 2015, it turned out that the Big Cheese Crusaders were not only targeting Rich, but also Big Cheese himself. For that reason, Rich uploaded a video with Big Cheese in an attempt to quell the unrest.
And while I was streaming, you know, the BC Crusaders, that's what they call themselves. How the hell you crusading me? But they call themselves the BC Crusaders. They spammed DDoS my Twitch page, a bunch of followers with my home phone number, saying that my wife's a whore and then my mom has cancer, and then says I have your mailing address and stuff like that. So it's been pretty much the cyber harassment, cyber attacking towards me.
What happened with Big Cheese and me, there was a business deal we had, it went sour, but we squashed it within, what would you say, 24 hours of it happening?
Pretty much.
And if we can move on from it, there's no reason for it to keep continuing. And I hope maybe if people realize, oh wow, Rich and Big Cheese have moved on from this, you know, maybe it isn't as big of a deal as people are trying to make it out to be.
The top comments were criticizing Rich for bringing up trolls once more. Quote, "No, why did you bring it up? The trolls were returned. And you just restarted the cycle, Rich. Rich, this was a bad idea." Unquote. It's difficult to state what effect this video had on the Big Cheese Crusaders. What is known is that at this point, those that were left in the movement were members that truly despised Rich, and as such, they continued to document Rich under a critical lens, seeking to spread word of his transgressions, the newest of which came from a Final Fantasy XIV review.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Rich of ReviewTech USA, and this is going to be a very interesting video. Square Enix came up to me and asked me to play Final Fantasy XIV 8 Realm Reborn. I suggest you give this game a chance. I think you'll really enjoy it. So huge shout out to Square Enix for giving me an opportunity to play this game, and I think they have something awesome on their hands, and now I can see why this game has been praised by so many people.
Rich in the video praised the game, but it was only in the description and the comments that he stated he was sponsored by Square Enix to make this video. That in itself wasn't the entire reason this review was somewhat controversial. It was Rich's prior, unpaid statements about the game.
And they try too hard to be different, and the outcome is games like Final Fantasy XIII, Final Fantasy XIV, and the other garbage they come out with.
They're trying to figure out what it is. Maybe because they've made a bunch of crappy Final Fantasy games that no one cares about. But beyond the screw-ups they're making, let's talk about all these companies, you know, because they're losing money making AAA games because they either try to rehash the same IP over and over again, or, you know, they try to make a half-assed game with multiplayer and hope it sells 10 million units and it doesn't.
These were likely throwaway lines to emphasize the dislike of Square Enix and the years the videos were created. And being that Final Fantasy XIV is an MMO and changes year per year, Rich could have naturally changed his opinion as the game improved. Though the clips next to each other and the lack of disclosure inside the actual video made for more reason for trolls to dislike Rich, and closed out 2015. 2016 started off just as poorly for Rich. In January, he polled his Twitter audience asking them if he should make a Patreon. No won by a decent margin. Coincidentally, Keemstar posted this video about creators being greedy with their Patreons.
Like, why would you ask your fans for money when you could give money back to your fans? I mean, you're the one that's blessed.
This was a repeat of the situation with the BBC. Though Keemstar did not mention Rich by name, Rich immediately responded and assumed it was him that Keemstar was talking about. The two then argued about the ethics of donations before the conversation died down. That's when Keemstar told Rich he was making a general statement that was not specifically targeting him. From here, Rich apologized 1, 2, 3, 4 times. This apology lasted about an hour. Quote, LMAO, okay, apology taken back. At Keemstar, really dude? I'm done after this, but wow. Unquote. Rich was not done after this, as below was a video calling Keemstar out for having a donate button on his stream page, as Rich was equating that to having a Patreon. The only person that could benefit from this nebulous argument was Keemstar, but Rich was too arrogant to see how this back and forth, his flip-flopping from apologizing to then taking the apology back, could hurt him.
Before everyone freaks out, I have no ill will against Keemstar. This isn't going to turn into some stupid thing.
This turned into a massive back and forth between Rich and Keemstar and eventually escalated into a debate.
Right? He's like, look at Keemstar, I take my apology back. Well, first of all, you apologized because you thought I was talking about you, okay? That's why you apologized, all right? But then you took my apology back because you found that I have a donate button on my stream. Rich, look, you said just a little while ago that you're not going to be making a Patreon.
Yeah.
Are you 100% you're not going to be making a Patreon?
Pretty much, yes.
All right. Well, there it is. He's not making a Patreon. So look, you manipulated the situation. You lied 3 times. We already went over this 100 times. And you know what? Now I've backed you in a corner, and you're not making a Patreon. So I'll take it as a win.
Dude, don't
Anyone
even
else
try.
can say whatever the fuck they want. I'll take it as a win.
Yeah, of course you're going to take it as a win. You're like baking these things and putting them in there to make it as a win. The bottom line is this.
Hold on.
Semantics aside, throughout the debate, it was Keemstar's goal to bar Rich from making a Patreon, in which he succeeded, lest he go back on his word. And if this happened in February instead of January 2016, Keemstar would have had more ammunition to use. Not because of the Patreon, but because of these two tweets. Quote, I think it's time I released at the RTU Critic's personal info. What do you guys think? Let's have some fun. At the RTU Critic, I'll make sure to add that pic of your kid to the docs too. Let's make this a good one.
What the fuck?
Unquote.
I
Rich
don't
claims
remember him
this
doing
was
that.
in retaliation
What the
to the RTU Critic's doxing and harassing
Why
of his
the fuck would
family,
he do
which
that?
included his children, even calling Rich when he was at the gym. Though after it came out that Shadow's government had a criminal history, Rich cut ties with Shadow and tried to delete as much as he could of what happened. These tweets were soon deleted, though they are still visible through the Wayback Machine alongside the remnants of the RTU Critics campaign against Rich. There were also videos that fans of Rich made combating the RTU Critic. This fan made a rap song celebrating the dogs of the RTU Critic.
You can't run. You can't hide. You're not going to stop my review tech pride. You could have got boxed, but instead you got doxed.
The RTU Critic and Review Hell USA are the same person, alongside a different creator known as Sierra Air.
Hey guys, in this video I'm going to expose a traitor to the Big Cheese Crusaders.
Sierra was not nearly as successful in getting reactions from Rich, but they were successful in keeping whatever was left of the Big Cheese Crusaders together. Clear by the catalog of videos, Sierra was not a very sane person, as it is not typical for someone to upload this many videos about the police or just McDonald's employees harassing them. Regardless, Sierra did get some notoriety from those looking into Rich's most dedicated opposition.
Now, this person that he's adding in this tweet is not exactly as subtle about the threats he makes. I'm in Ireland. You can't catch me. Rich's personal life will be targeted until he quits. I don't care what the fuck you think about me. I want that man dead in a bog.
Rich's outbursts continue to encourage his trolls. In this livestream, he called one the F word.
Dude, I really, I don't care, man. And the thing is if I block you, then you say I'm a pussy. If you stay here, you annoy the shit out of me. Why don't we just meet somewhere? If you have that much of a problem with me, let's meet somewhere and we could, quote-unquote, discuss it. If you got that much of a problem, dude, I'm more than willing to meet. You name a place, I'll meet you there. And we can have a discussion. We can discuss anything you want. I will meet you. I will put a fucking flag on my car saying I'm rich and we can meet there. I don't know, man, but you seem that you are such a fucking loser that you come on here all the fucking time. And it's annoying. And if I block you, you get pissed. If I unblock you, you annoy the shit out of me.
This was the pinnacle of controversy for Rich at the time. His strategy of doxing his worst trolls and publicly making amends with Big Cheese seemingly worked in his favor. The worst that was happening to him was when he ate all that a Wall Street Journal article fed him about PewDiePie. An article that was filled with false information decrying PewDiePie as anti-Semitic. Rich quickly took this video down and issued an apology.
Fuck, I remember
it's time for me to eat a whole bunch of fucking crow right now.
In Rich's apology, he still got important information about PewDiePie incorrect, like stating that PewDiePie wore an SS officer's uniform when the costume he wore was clearly not of German origin. But for this to be Rich's most controversial video for at least a year was an improvement. Though all good things must come to an end, and Rich would find himself with more problems,
you haven't made any mistakes
some of his own
in a
creation,
year
others falsified to destroy his character.
So let me get this straight.
Good job.
Rich cries when he gets doxxed, but likes it when it happens to other people.
Gee, I wonder why I flagged that down. I don't know.
And he's given out the state that I live in.
At least try to come after me for something I can't instantly debunk.
He also gives out my last name.
Review Tech, who is Anna Doyle? I see people mentioning her in the chat.
On November 1st, 2017, Rich finally committed and announced he was making a Patreon. With the apocalypse coming into his revenue, and with his videos full of colorful language and unsavory subject matter, this is what he offered to remain uncensored. While there could have been issues with trolls pointing out him going back on his word and creating Patreon, as long as Rich did not address it, no one would care. For the next couple of months, hundreds would subscribe to Rich's Patreon as he would thank them for its success. Once it passed over $1,000 a month and remained there for a period, Rich made a promise for patron-only streams, but failed to give any details within a timely manner. Then Rich on a live stream stated this.
With the stream, guys, in terms of doing like an exclusive stream for patrons, I don't know if, I know I put that on there. I don't know if I want to do that because I feel like I would be, I just feel like I'm being unfair to the rest of my subscribers.
This video was archived and uploaded on a channel that went by Anna Doyle. This is believed to be a sock account of Review Hell USA. The video showing the unfulfilled Patreon reward was titled Review Tech USA Undelivered Patreon Reward Promises. The only reason it is prominent now is because Rich addressed it.
Now the video is called Review Tech USA Undelivered Patreon Reward Promises, and generally when this jackass makes videos, I ignore them. I have better things to do, let them say whatever the hell they want to say. But when you try to make me seem like I'm being a thief, I gotta step in and say something, especially when I have documented evidence proving that I'm not.
Rich's evidence, used to debunk Anna Doyle, was in the form of posts that stated he was committing to Patreon-only streams. But this was in March. Review Tech introduced the idea in January and failed to deliver any streams for those 2 months. This issue is so small that it is difficult to believe many, if any at all, of Rich's supporters will care about the minutiae of this. Anna Doyle's true goal, as it has always been, was to troll Rich, to get a response. And once again, they got what they wanted.
But to everyone out there who's saying that I'm being Panhandler Tech USA and making 8 million videos about me, I got something for you. Panhandle this.
This was just the beginning. In April, the 1316 Killer, a creator that had long criticized Rich, received this screenshot, which prompted him to make this video.
So just to let everybody know, I do not have Twitter, and I do not have Facebook. I actually put that in a skit that I made today, which will be going up. I don't know if I'll post this today or tomorrow, but take a good look at that.
On screen was allegedly the 1316 Killer's docs. Rich responded by denying that he doxed him. Further tweets demonstrate how the screenshot could have been faked by editing the web page's source code. And as dedicated as his trolls are in archiving every misstep, none of them provided an archive link to the tweet of Rich doxing the 1316 Killer. There is no evidence behind this happening. And being that the 1316 Killer was sent this screenshot means that there is no proof that the text was unaltered. This is not to say that Rich was completely uninvolved in drama. As tensions were rising between Rich and his most dedicated trolls, mysteriously their videos were disappearing, like Anna Doyle's, which is when Rich was asked to show his flagging history.
Will you show your YouTube history report like Monday Matt did, because there is rumors you reported Anna Doyle? I'm not showing any reports. I didn't report him, but I'm not showing any reports.
With Rich's associate being exposed for flagging videos critical of them, this became the new spearhead against Rich and was utilized by Keemstar in 2018. In an unrelated drama, Keemstar was on creator Andy Worski's stream lambasting Rich for his transgressions.
And every time I see a video from you, it's just stupid fucking opinions. I don't know why you're on the fucking internet anymore. You're dumb, you get everything wrong, you say dumb shit over and over again. I'm so sick of hearing your dumb fucking opinions. You need to get smarter before you come on my fucking platform, on YouTube, and spread your bullshit. Because I'm sick of it. You're dumb. Get smarter.
Thank you.
In this conversation, Rich was on the back foot, and so he wanted to make peace with Keemstar. Keemstar was willing under one condition.
Okay, I've calmed down. I understand that you want to make peace and that you're sorry. Olive branch out there if you show your flag history.
Rich, now willing to show his flagging history, pulled it up for all to see.
There you go. There is this vehicle.
What?
Video.
So yeah, some were deleted. See when they're deleted?
Some were deleted.
Right, so
those were probably from like 5 fucking years ago.
All right, so Review Tech sexually assaulted someone, DSP Gaming.
Gee, I wonder why I flagged that down. I don't know.
Review Tech, who is Anna Doyle? I see people mentioning her in the chat.
That is a dude who has put out my personal information.
Whose name?
Put out, and he. And honestly, I wasn't even though I did flag him once, I wasn't even the one who got his channel taken down.
Rich had lied. He did in fact flag Anna Doyle, aka Review Hell USA. What's more, with Rich exposed, Keemstar saw the opportunity to dig the knife in further, insinuating that he only goes after people when they are weak.
Most of the shit that I got from you came under, like, in the year 2016, when the whole internet hated me, and everybody thought my career was over.
and as soon as I regain,
He goes right
you know,
for the throat. As soon as things are
now you want to be sorry.
amped up and juicy and shit, he'll
Though
absolutely
this
jump
did
on that
provide
shit.
yet another reason for trolls to continue their campaign against Rich, the internet
Yeah,
at
this
large
was a little
did not
while
care.
ago. People weren't-
What helped Rich avoid any of this
fucking love
backlash
listening
was
to
his
drama.
massive
They still love
success.
listening to drama.
Shortly after this conversation, Rich had his best month on YouTube ever due to some extremely successful videos. This was Rich's shield. Over the next couple of years, his videos would easily dominate anyone coming out against him despite his continued missteps. From a live stream covering January 6th to his dating profile being leaked. There was even a video theorizing he had gastric bypass surgery due to his massive weight loss. All of it
Excellent.
forgotten because his own videos continue to dominate the search results. In 2022, he even hit 1 million subscribers. It was around this time that he had been using marijuana and had been wanting to significantly lessen his usage.
Like, there's a lot of times like, oh shit, I gotta stream soon. Time to get stoned.
This is
And
when
I'm
you
like,
start
oh,
streaming
no.
fucking baked and shit, isn't
That's
it?
not how I want to be. You know what I mean? Two things. Like I said, I'll have it a few times a year like I do trains. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, I'm anti-weed now. Like, dude, I think it should make it legalized federally. I'll have it a few times a year. And it did a lot for me.
While Rich had these desires and sought the benefits, like possibly increasing motivation, tragedy struck Rich's life, making it more difficult to quit or do anything else for that matter, as this happening required his entire attention.
Unfortunately, I have some bad news. His daughter is in the ICU at the moment, and he is unable to make videos on the channel, and he's unable to live stream. He's going through a lot emotionally, of course.
That was Rich's dedicated editor, Jay, host of the channel JKB that was formerly 3KB or 3 kilobytes. In Rich's absence, Jay would take up the majority of responsibilities of the channel, but this went on longer than initially expected. Rich's daughter was thought to only need about 1 month of hospital stay, though that was less and less becoming the case.
My daughter, my youngest daughter, Mackenzie, is in the hospital right now with Steven Johnson syndrome, which is rare within itself. There's like 20,000 cases or less each year. The main reason why I'm making this video is that things are going to be different on this channel, probably until I'm saying realistically she's going to be 2 months. I don't wish this on my worst enemy. This is the worst thing I've ever been through.
After several months of turmoil, now in July, the worst of it seemed to be over. But Rich, now being a bit more active on his channel, reflected on his content.
Unfortunately, to put it lightly, and that's an understatement, life had different plans for me. So why things got inconsistent, because my time was at a premium. I had my 2 sons here full time for a very long time. And mostly what I stuck to was live streaming. And recently, this is what I'm leading up to. Because my time is still somewhat at a premium because things aren't fully settled yet. I've brought back news, kind of.
What Rich goes into is his exhaustion of covering surface-level news. He has grown tired of reading articles or glancing at similar media and filming an equally introspective piece, hardly expanding on the original flimsy work. Typically, a creator may make these changes because their views are suffering from lack of experimentation. Their content has grown stale, and in order to survive on the platform, something else must be created. This was not Rich's case. Even though he was uploading at a much slower rate than he had in the past couple of years, his views hardly suffered from his departure. This format is successful and easy to produce. But after over a decade of doing this, Rich has had enough and seeks to produce higher quality content.
I want to do more high production value stuff. I actually have stuff
really
in
like
the
this
pipe
camo.
behind the scenes. I talk about it somewhat in live streams, but I don't want to bring it up here because when it's ready, it's ready. I've learned to not overpromise and underdeliver.
Rich is rather unspecific about his projects, but he does say he wants to create evergreen content, or videos that windows of interest are not dated. The fatal mistake was that he was killing his main channel by slowing down the legacy news content without testing any of this evergreen content to know if his format would even succeed. And then months went by. There was nothing but his typical uploads at a slower rate. But he did have another announcement, a shout out to a different project.
Upload to shout out my other music channel where I upload hip-hop records that I produce. God, I couldn't sound any more corny saying that, but no, I'm not kidding.
Rich's music channel, El Capo, is not popular. The rudimentary AI art would be off-putting to a typical user. Rich is spreading himself thin and is aimless. If he wanted to succeed and remain on the platform, he would not be doing this. At the very least, he will be creating the high production content he speaks so much of. The fact of the matter is, channels on YouTube can die as fast as they rise. And for Rich to throw away a surefire way to remain relevant or entertaining on the platform is dangerous. Not just for the money, but because, for the most part, he was in control. There is a space for Rich to continue to exist online without the need to create new videos. And that would be in the same vein as creators like Boogie2988 or Wings of Redemption. These are creators that have long lost their original supportive audiences and have them replaced with viewers who mock and troll them without end. These are known as lolcows, and Rich was quickly on the path to exist only as one, especially when entering needless feuds like he did with Does It Play at the end of 2023. This all started from this video.
At least, if you're lucky, you may just get an unfinished version of the game that might be playable but broken. A lot of times you get these games home.
Rich was making the argument that current-day games are all released as a broken mess that require immediate patches in order to exist in a playable state. The same day of this video's release, Rich streamed and was challenged on this premise.
Does it play? Right here, they're real. And let me show you one else.
Does It Play is a website that tests whether games play in their unaltered state, meaning offline playability. Rich was now displeased with them because someone with 2 likes on Twitter challenged Rich on a statement about games being unplayable without patches. His major grievance was that Does It Play was one of those 2 likes.
Name a game, Does It Play, that you get from the store that there is not a multi-gigabyte update for. Go right now and get me one. That's from this current generation.
Rich, in his confidence, bet money that he was correct.
I'll pay them $2,000. $2,000, get a game from the store, Does It Play, that doesn't require an update.
Rich added the circumstance that it had to be a AAA game. But even so, his loss was set. Just a day later, Does It Play responded with Super Mario RPG. Rich was prompted to retort, now arguing that the game industry is full of important Day 1 patches. But that was not the argument. Quickly, other creators jumped in, correcting Rich. The responses were getting far more likes than Rich's own posts. As Rich kept tweeting, the responses were growing in numbers and virtually only against him. It was only on his stream later that night, after an hour debate from a guest arguing on behalf of Does It Play, Rich admits defeat.
So, here. On the 4th of each month, today's the 3rd, you'll pay $2,000.
I want to end it
there
here,
you go.
But I also want to get
This
one more
is where
done.
it should have ended. But already Rich was tweeting about a big surprise video, ruining the surprise with another tweet stating, quote, "Meh, at Does It Play 1 was wrong about this. It's all good, the money went to a good cause," unquote. This was in response to Jay's tweet, claiming that Super Mario RPG does have a game-breaking bug. Seeing Rich's discontent in what should have been an already settled situation, Does It Play tweeted at Rich additional examples that fit his criteria. Rich tweeting, quote, "Yeah, but you used the Mario RPG as an example to make me quote-unquote fork over the money. And it has a game-breaking bug that Nintendo is putting out an emergency patch for. Hopefully my funding can allow you to not make a crucial mistake like this again. Glad I got to support your cause," unquote. Tweet after tweet, response after response, Rich only dug himself in deeper. What goodwill he regained by donating the promised money was quickly being lost, and then he posted the video addressing it.
Hello everybody, I'm a proud Does It Play $2,000 financial supporter. And there are games that don't need updates, but the one they showed, they were wrong about, and that was Super Mario RPG. They said that, look, here's a AAA game that doesn't need an update day 1. It works right out of the box. Except for the fact that it has a game-breaking bug, Super Mario RPG.
The top comment of this video disputes Rich's statement about it being a game-breaking bug, as it is still very much completable without an update. Even so, Does It Play provided other examples that went unchallenged. For these reasons, all the top comments were against Rich. Quote, "Rich is way too into internet drama for a man his age. As a longtime fan of your content, Rich, this video could have honestly stayed in the drafts. Been watching your videos for years. This is easily the most embarrassing thing you put out, and I'm saying that to a guy who gets high and takes his shirt off on stream," unquote. The last comment was not even commentary on only this
I've exfilled
situation,
a bunch of
it
times
was on
and it's
Rich
still-
as a whole. Rich's streams only
I
seem
kinda
to be
forgot how
poisoned
good
by
it
his
is
gimmicks,
to-
like the frequent use of a soundboard that's mainly used for this applause sound.
So anyway, there's a new Lolcow podcast.
Most everyone else is
starring me. Let me go piss real quick. I promise I won't spam the applause. I know I'm overdoing it.
Does It Play ended up refunding Rich's money without his consent announced by this tweet. Quote, unfortunately, due to reasons unknown to us, we have found ourselves in the middle of a bit of a social media drama we clearly shouldn't have engaged with. Unquote. This is how Rich's 2023 was ended. Even so, 2024 was off to a much worse start. Rich's channel wasn't just dying, it was also being prepared for a feast, with the predators he thought he was toying with lying in wait.
And if
Oh,
anyone
right. I forgot those
is
guys are up there.
responsible for Phil pressing the eject button,
nuts.
it's you fucking weirdos. And it's not the whole detractor community. A lot of them like me. But there is a portion that despise me. Because you know what it is, Jay. Jay's watching, my editor. They have channels that are dedicated to Phil. What's going to be the topic now?
Rich has a history of talking about lolcows.
Like, yes, I talk about Phil in 90% of my streams.
In this situation, Rich is proposing that a consequence of an upcoming documentary on the infamous creator Darkside Phil by documentarian Mike Klum would be that the detractors of Phil will need to slow the production of content down,
I didn't
or they
know Mike
discourage
Klum was
Phil
doing
from
one on
dropping the
Darkside
project.
Phil.
Engaging in this conversation with detractors of Phil is a terrible idea for a multitude of reasons. First is that as Rich criticizes Phil, it becomes apparent that many of his criticisms are also applicable to himself. Second, he is engaging and antagonizing trolls. Third, his channel is on a steep decline, with his typical viewers appearing less and less, and more trolls gaining interest in Rich. Their voices grow louder, and so does their control of him.
I know there's some people who exist. They hate Phil to an unhealthy degree. They're just as bad, if not worse, than Phil's dents. And they're like so caught up in their hatred of him, they don't even fucking realize it.
That watermark, Snortmania, is from a troll channel that is known as Snort Hogan that mainly covers Darkside Phil. Now Snort Hogan has his talons sunk in on Rich, re-uploading Rich's stream segments that have him speaking on trolls. And though some of Rich's words ring true, they are being twisted intentionally by the inflammatory title of the video to both garner the attention of Rich and drive opposition towards him. And it worked.
I told you. I goddamn told you. And all of you cried like bitches. You're more of dents than Phil's dents. Cry. Cry hard, Snort Hogan. Cry hard, Cult of Hate. Keep crying because I was right and you were wrong. Kiss my fucking ring and bow before me, you motherfuckers.
Rich in this video was celebrating that he was correct that Phil did indeed cancel the Mike Klum documentary. But that wasn't particularly insightful, being that most saw this as the likely case anyways. What matters is that Rich was growing ever more restless and combative with the trolls. This clip alone would appear in every one of Snort Hogan's videos from now on, but this was only the start.
You lost how many subs?
I lost about
100?
200 people.
From what?
Twitter. The loss of his followers was likely from this Twitter space that he hosted.
The only thing I will admit, because I have to admit when I'm wrong, is I overestimated that there was going to be a troll war. Okay, I'll take that L. But even down to the fact that the trolls blamed me,
Lightstock
which
is
I
going to be
screen
insane if I
for
actually
him canceling
put it on
the
here.
Mike Klum documentary.
Rich was on a warpath.
So, some of Phil's dented detractors have said to me, today is the day of God. How could you be so mean on the day of God? So I said to myself, you know what? I will say a prayer. Lord Jesus, please pray for these lost souls and tell them to come suck my dick.
Detractor Dent, they're different than detractors for giving me a healthy amount of good, solid content for Jay and I
That's
this
not
evening.
what you say when
So
you
I
got these people
well,
after you,
first
dude.
off, I'm going to start off with an apology if you follow me on Twitter.
That fucks you over
You probably
so
thought that
hard.
I have lost my mind over the past 24 hours. I have not. It was by design. It was done to farm motherfucking dumbass pieces of shit for content, and congratulations, they did it.
Congratulations.
It cannot be overstated how bad antagonizing Phil's detractors was at this time when his views were still going severely downhill. And now Rich was set in abandoning his channel's mainstay content altogether.
It has to die, Jay. The news has to die. It gotta go away. There's no one that can convince me out of it this time.
In February, he restated his commitment, stating that he wants to make video game retrospectives.
I'm actually joined today by Jay. He's my editor, and those will be projects from, not to sound corny, from the heart. I don't want to hire outside script writers. I want it to be from us.
At this point in time, Rich has made more videos brainstorming what he wants to make than the actual videos he wants to make.
Yeah, I've noticed
This is
that.
never a good sign. And Jay, Rich's editor, saw what others did. And so Jay continued to try to convince him to keep doing the news videos. But Rich did not relent, and things went from bad to catastrophic.
Listen, I'll end it with this. My fat ass will go fucking bankrupt getting the prettiest suit. I will go there with a smile on, because you know what?
There is an absolute shitstorm coming out right now.
It'll destroy your reputation, and I'll get publicity out of it because a giant pussy from Canada wanted to sue me because his feelings were hurt.
You come here.
As it was coming out, late February, Jay was no longer working for Rich, and his firing was far from amicable. 8-Bit Eric, a relatively small channel, was covering the situation as it was evolving in Jay's Discord. And just as Rich had done to Big Cheese, he was making Facebook posts cryptically talking about the situation.
From Richard on his Facebook, it says, I need to be able to afford my rent. Proceeds to buy parts to upgrade the gaming PC I gave him, and dude got paid by me on top of that. I guess money magically floated out of thin air. Miracles do happen. Man, oh man, get fucked, my boy.
Rich deleted that post and apologized. But in that same apology, he still belittles Jay.
Richard comes out and says, you know what, I deleted the post. Instead of making a public shit show, may the best man win, and by best man I mean I'll win. I do better without parasites attached to me anyway.
This was quickly gaining attention, and there are a lot of smaller supports that build up this falling out. Though it appeared sudden, there were a few reasons Rich was combative. On Rich's side, he was annoyed that Jay did not want to create shorts for Rich's streaming channel. The reason Jay refused was because of lack of direction in this request. Rich's streams are full of dead air and generally lack substance. To ask Jay to scrub multi-hour long streams for usable clips, it did not win him over. But that was while Jay was still employed. There were also elements around the firing, like that the firing came from a text message, and that Jay was fired on his birthday. There was also the matter of the retainer. As Jay stated, they had a deal in the case that Jay was fired that he would be owed a full month's pay. Rich initially did not want to honor this.
I put this in place because he was a nightmare to work with and unreliable at times. When he was told that he would have to pay me this, he said I was extorting, and he paid me half, leaving me in shock. He then brought the PC, which wasn't a gift. It was meant for me to work on his show and bring in money for both of us.
Rich had very recently given Jay a PC, though it was clear that this was for work. Rich was using this as leverage to not commit to the payment he was promised. What's also interesting about this computer is that Rich cared so little about it initially that he was going to give it away to Darkside Phil.
So I'm literally still looking at the computer right now. Eventually, I have a friend, another friend up in Canada I'm going to give it to.
The reason Jay got the PC was because Darkside Phil refused it, possibly fearing that it may have spyware. This escalated well into March. On March 5th, Jay tweeted, quote, I want to say that yesterday Rich sent me a bunch of really terrible audio messages that made it clear how he feels. I am done. I can't deal with nonsense anymore. I've been worried how this will look for him. I didn't want to have to say anything again, but I am done trying to help him. Unquote. In a different tweet, Jay stated that he wasn't going to read them, but to ask Rich to play them on his show. Jay then tweets that he is done with the situation once more.
Since it's out there, you know what, Jay? I'll play the messages.
Do you realize how much damage you not getting a $500 when you've gotten so much extra from me throughout the years?
There's not much substance in these initially private voice messages. They recap the drama and include some belittlement of Jay. However, Rich was furious that Jay exposed their existence. And now, having paid Jay the money owed, he saw it fit to go after him rather than let things die down. Here, Rich provides reasons why Jay was not the best employee, including the times he refused to make clips and shorts for the channel.
You got paid to basically sit on your ass. Now, there are times I've made you wait with my terrible time management, and I will own that. But again, you stayed. How many times did I give you extra shit, extra money?
Rich played his hand. This is all he had against Jay.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to block him and move on.
This was a lie. Though Rich lacked ammunition, he sought to continue the feud.
You're the sidekick everywhere you go. That's not jealousy saying that. When you used to sit there and sound like your balls were getting grabbed. JKB back with another video. You couldn't cut it. That's why you became my editor. You got paid to basically sit on your ass. Now, there are times I've made you wait with my terrible time management. Now, dude, I admit all the fucking time when I'm wrong with stuff, all the time. I eat crow all the time when I fuck up. I'm not admitting it with this one. The heights I'm gonna go to, because this is put a fire under my ass like you wouldn't believe, are gonna be incredible.
This drama was coming out during Rich's worst performing month this year so far. But Jay also wasn't done, because he did a podcast breaking down what happened.
So let's get this straight. He said, I'm a parasite. Then he made a stream about it and said, I stand by what I said. And then days later, he apologized. He said, I shouldn't have done that. And now where are we at? I don't even know, because it's like being on a roller coaster that spins. I don't even know what direction we're in when it comes to what he's talking about.
As poorly as Rich continued to handle this, there were moments where Jay prodded Rich, excusing these prods as jokes, like when he made a channel called Review Tech Canada after being fired. This channel was removed after a day. Being that Rich has had various detractor channels that follow him intently that are spin-offs of his channel's name, this could be seen as a strike at Rich. There was also the firing on his birthday that, while accurate, was getting the criticism that he was victimizing himself.
And it was supposed to be like a public joke where people went, oh, he's Review Tech Canada for a day or whatever on his YouTube channel. I changed it literally for like 20 hours. My first stream was called I'm Fired on My Birthday, which is what technically happened. You know, and it was a joke.
In the overall picture, it did not matter because Rich was far more aggressive and a dam was beginning to leak. As Rich previously brought forward all reasons why Jay should be disliked, users were finding more and more reasons why Rich should be held. This was becoming a rabbit hole as one event was dug to another, and slowly his controversial history was being dug up, like this podcast that he did with Jay.
How many times did he bring up people hate him? Yeah, you know, during the streams. Constantly. He in the last, like, I'd say 6 months, if you go back, he was proud of the fact that people didn't like him. And when we would stream together, and this is something I never talked about, he had Ethan Ralph's ex-wife on the show, quote unquote.
This was an event that happened just 2 months ago in the period that Jay and Rich first got together, when the alleged ex-wife of a controversial creator was interviewed. Naturally, it was a troll that strung Rich along for nearly 30 minutes. The troll then linked the call to a different troll that Rich willingly accepted.
Did you ever see that time where because you kept mentioning the hard R before, did you ever see when he was talking about the hard R?
Yes.
It meant something different when he said it.
Yeah, that was that the video you're talking about?
You know that hard R means, well, I don't want to say it, but.
Well, we said rape before.
Yeah, okay, so I can say it? Are you saying I can say it?
Yeah, you could say it.
You're giving me the pass? Hard R means...
The troll goes on to say the N-word, and Rich and Jay fully understand the situation they were in. More of these moments that make Rich a fool would come to light if he continued this crusade. And it seemed that Rich was fully committed to do so, as he announced he would be on the podcast Locale Live, but then walked it back soon after.
We're doing a video on my channel, and we're both going to be candid. We're going to be professional, we're going to be civil, no one's going to yell. Yeah, I'm not going to do the Locale podcast. This is better. Not going to go on there.
This video did not come, and the truce lasted only 4 days. It was this tweet of Jay's that possibly reignited the flame, stating that he was going to do an interview with Darkside Phil, but it was going to be a positive one because he was sick of all the negativity. Rich sought to ruin this opportunity by exposing the time Jay talked negatively about Phil. Rich then went on to tweet that Jay tried to extort him over the phone, but being that it wasn't recorded, there is no existing proof. Jay then responded to Rich, and this soon became back and forth. Rich stated that his channel would outperform Jay's a year from now, and Jay responded by stating that Rich has a clear advantage, while adding that he will not recommend working for Rich. This ended with Jay calling Rich a crazy ex, and also calling him by a nickname, Dickie. Just like the fake ex-wife Rich interviewed, this was also a nugget into Rich's humiliating history. Specifically, this old video of Rich talking about one of his prior jobs where a strung-out coworker gave him a disparaging nickname.
He continues on and goes, even better. Even better. I'm gonna call you Dickers. You are Dickers!
Because of the resurfacing of this nickname, Dickers is what detractors of Rich would derisively refer to him as.
That's actually
In retaliation to Jay's tweet, Rich finally went on the Locale Live podcast where he breaks down the situation.
What I'm saying is, when I hear your point of view, I'm on your side. I would really like Jay to get here to hear Jay's point of view on this, but I would love him here too. Everything that I'm hearing, I have to side with Rich.
Though Keemstar points out that Jay was not present to deliver his point of view, he does side with Rich. And with Rich now feeling justified and victorious, he makes it abundantly clear that he is done with the Jay drama, even considering the times he said he was done before, to then only jump back in.
I am going to say to people, please refer to this, whatever episode this is. That's it. Like, I don't want to talk about him anymore. I don't want to, like, I'm done. Like, yeah, I know I've went back and forth out of anger.
Rich also reveals a few details of this upcoming high-quality project that is supposed to set the tone for the future of his channel.
It's a retrospective on the industry and how it's fucked right now, and it's about 40 minutes long, and I, to the best of my ability, try to make it like as close as I can.
Industry as in like YouTube, or like industry as like
gaming, how it's changed and how the industry right now is like in limbo. And it's fucked, and I kind of just go and I just went balls deep into it, so it's like 40 minutes long.
His description of this project was very broad, but that wasn't what Rich was talking about now on his stream.
Dude, I was on the Locale podcast today. I put the final nail in Jay's fucking live streaming career. I'm feeling pretty good, actually. No, it'll never be worked out. We will never be friends again.
Rich, still in this high, now challenges 8-Bit Eric.
I ruined one career. Let me ruin another one. You're trying to hurt my fucking career, so come on the show. Let's see if I can go 2 for 2 today.
8-Bit Eric responds the same day, confused at Rich's challenge.
You said sorry to me. You sent me an apology. Apology didn't mean jack, because look how you're acting. It's a cycle. You need help. All right?
Perhaps this is a mental lapse, though Rich doesn't seem to think so.
You're right. I have to admit, because that I'll be no better than I do need help. I have more issues now. I've always had issues, I'll admit it. I have more issues now, especially after the events that happened. And it does reflect it.
The cherry on top was Rich's reason for feeling vindicated was his appearance on Locale Live. But that was not even uploaded officially to their channel.
I forgot the episode isn't up yet. A lot of you don't understand. I'm sorry.
There was at least a few days of silence. This could have ended here, but then Jay, on his live stream, received a donation from what appeared to be at first glance a random fan.
Hey Jay, I love the show and think you're doing a great job.
No.
However, I think it's disingenuous that you said that Rich copied your humor. You, why lie?
Yeah, I didn't lie. I don't know about the part. I never said that Rich stole my humor. I said that Rich and I developed all the humor together.
Jay is suspicious about this donation, likely luck at the PayPal address, which confirmed his suspicions.
Are you kidding me? Okay. I can't believe it.
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
Jay, in disbelief that Rich would do something this stupid, held off on informing his audience and streamed as usual until he was interrupted by another donation.
Why did you not go on a show with Rich when Rich went on the Loco podcast? He's awful. But if you had nothing to hide, why they'd going on a stream with him? You went on a podcast. Wouldn't it be better to clear the air with him there?
And then another.
It's obviously Rich.
Oh,
Fuck
brother.
me.
And another.
It's so
Maybe
fucking obvious,
you won't
too.
come on a stream because you have
Just
a lot
donated
to hide.
4 fucking times too. Oh, it makes me
Oh man,
cringe, bro. It makes me
White Lando says, "I wonder who that actually is." And somebody else says, "People have no life."
I like this very much.
Anyways,
This was brought to the attention of Rich, who then openly admitted those came from him.
fucking hell.
If
Rich,
I
no,
wanted to,
don't
you know,
say that.
say something, I wanted to be a sexy lady.
Oh, fuck.
Enjoy the money,
Rich.
Jay. That's all you got to worry about.
This was all happening while Rich was doing his channel. He had very few allies, and even the locale podcast that he thought vindicated him were not so supportive.
Dude, his show is garbage. So I'll click on it every once in a while to see what's going on, right? And every time I'm on there, he's playing with his boobs, and he's got chickens, and he's making gay jokes. Like, I'm gonna fuck my editor. Like, I'm gonna fuck you in the ass. And it's gonna feel. It's like, what? What is going on?
For the 5th month in a row, his views were on a fast decline. What was meant to bring them up was his high-quality video that he had been promoting for several months now. It was unfortunate it released on April 1st. These are the first 14 seconds of the video with absolutely no alteration made.
Oh no. I'm curious. Oh fuck.
ban Amber Heard's third, please.
Try to relax your
anus.
It's time to talk about my man history.
This nearly 40-minute long video that was his gaming retrospective was a phenomenally terrible video. It is presented as Rich's retrospective, but Rich was not anyone prominent in the gaming environment nor introspective. So for him to select himself as the porthole already severely
funny,
limits
actually.
interest and
Neither was
relatability
he
as
someone
he
who
makes
was
largely about
retrospective.
himself. On that note, it is
good.
full of inside jokes and clips that even when understood do nothing but interrupt the video. The pacing is also entirely off. Instead of an intro or hook, it opens with a disorienting mess of sound effects and commercials. His tone throughout was unconfident and confused. It also has distracted full-length ads of the products he was talking about, not to mention his own
Oh wait,
cutaways.
he played the full ads? Why? Why would you do that? Why? What's the point of that?
The comments were all criticizing this work. Quote, I had to make sure I wasn't signed into Netflix. This man hyped up his video saying it would be 40 minutes long, and most of it is just trailers to make a 5-minute video longer. I think this video was way overhyped. I thought we were gonna get an actual video essay with a solid script and good editing. This only feels like a regular RT rambling video, but longer and some random clips. Unquote. Rich's video was not entirely without value. It still provided a decent amount of entertainment, just not in the way he anticipated.
Read this one, man. That's a great one.
I can see why you had an editor before, because this is a rough cut at best. And honestly, you being high out of your mind is extremely distracting.
That was from the Kino Casino live stream, segments of which are uploaded to their Clips channel on YouTube. As Rich's channel was dying, his own videos were fighting a losing battle against various channels tearing him down. Searching ViewTech USA now will return some of his videos, but mostly the Kino Casino clips and Snort Hogan's own videos.
I'm gonna call you Dickers. You!
He gets called Dickers every day at work. You're Dickers. Imagine telling this story when you got pressed.
The dam finally broke all at once. The Kino Casino was resurfacing the Big G's drama, Rich's doxing, the new egg fiasco, the times his mother interrupted the stream.
Yeah, it's not. It wasn't a
theories
good
about
look
his
for
weight
him,
loss,
to be honest.
his falling out with Jay.
It's like
all of his
he never
history and
apologized
more
for anything.
like
He just
profile,
did
even
it
looking
and moved
into
on.
when his Discord
It's
server
really
had an NSFW
fucked.
section, and a user uploaded imagery that wasn't taken down.
He shows, hey, like 4 years ago, the mods were added about this and they swept up the lolicon. And he asks, why did you keep lolly on your public channel, Rich, for years?
Additionally, there was this video of Rich shouting in a mall to win an All Might stat.
All right, everybody, I'm spreading the breaking news that the quartering is a giant pussy in public. So here we go.
Oh, dude, don't do that.
Hello, everybody. I have breaking news.
Oh, bro, don't do that.
He's a giant pussy.
never felt so much cringe.
That's all.
I've had
Kino
felt so
Casino
much
was
cringe
covering
for
Rich's
myself.
history and watching his live streams heavily.
Not
during
many
the month
can
of
match
April.
my amount of
As it
cringe.
turned out, Rich was watching them as well.
So was he? I think he had it open by accident, and then our stream started playing.
No way!
Like our pre-stream.
The importance of this catch was that both Rich's stream and the Kino Casinos were live simultaneously. The Kino Casino dug up some minor drama and titled their stream Review Tech USA Exposed. Rich, likely seeing this, decided to address what he thought the drama was. A miscalculation that opened up a can of worms no one knew about but him.
All of a sudden, I'm looking in Dropbox, and if you have the Dropbox app, for those of you who are familiar, you see like the recent, you know, whether it be apps or files that you've been using, and I'm like, why the f am I seeing pictures of my ex's other kids?
What Rich just admitted was that his Dropbox was recently hacked. The hack was of Canadian origin.
Oh, fuck me.
Within that Dropbox were images of his ex's kids in bikinis. But it was set up in that way because they all had a shared account. Rich verifies the story by calling who he claims to be his ex-wife.
Quick question for you. As you're sleeping, those pictures in my Dropbox, why are they there?
Because my kids used to upload their phones to our Dropbox.
Before they sold them, correct?
Yeah. I trade them back.
Okay, that's all. Go back to sleep.
As these streams are going on, suddenly the pieces are falling into place as to why Rich decided to come forward with the existence of these photos.
We had Rich exposed literally about something completely different, and he thought he was actually using a VPN. He had St. Marie apparently or some shit on the VPN, and he thought we were using Dropbox.
How stupid is this guy?
I don't know.
There were many theories crafted that
Yeah,
were not
Review Tech
genuine,
USA
explaining
has
why
no
these photos
titles.
were on there. The facts are that in May 2024, Review Tech was at its lowest point in over 10 years. It is a dead channel. This is not drawn from its decline or speculation of its future. Review Tech USA is a dead channel because on May 1st, 2024, Rich posted this goodbye video.
I'm over what at least Review Tech USA was. I did this for over a decade. Over a decade. I got to sit in front of a camera and be an idiot for a living.
Rich in this video also explained he had some personal, possibly family-related things he was dealing with last month. As for his channel, he reiterates that he is tired of the news and is giving up on it, but will post every now and then if something catches his interest. His efforts going forward will be in live streaming and his music production. But it was not even an entire 24 hours later that he posted another news video. Here he excuses his immediate comeback as a contractual obligation for a sponsor. None of the top comments are discussing the subject of the video, but rather Rich's short-lived goodbye. This is not the first time this happened. Even barring all the videos Rich has made, stating that he is seeking to make a different form of content, in 2022, in response to YouTube's inaction of Quantum TV, Rich tweeted he is, quote, officially retiring from making conventional videos on Review Tech USA. YouTube has made it abundantly clear that my kind of content either has to be heavily censored or is no longer welcome on the platform, unquote. This did not last, and he returned. And as of June 2024, Rich and Jay have made up once again. Review Tech USA is hovering around 300,000 views for the past 30 days. It has been abandoned. Though Rich can still be found on the streaming channel RTU Streams, where he streams intoxicated. Like all creators that stream, his audience is drawn closer to him, therefore increasing the interactions between him and his building detractor base. Everything in the past 10 years has been building up to this moment, from Rich's controversial past that serves as a base for the hate, to the killing of the channel which provides discovery to detractor channels, and the tragedies in his personal life that have skyrocketed his anxiety, which has him responding both impulsively and angrily. Rich has now completed his transition, not to how he wanted to see himself as a respected content creator that creates long-form passion projects that are beloved, but as the laughingstock that constantly shifts in his intentions, how he views his relationships, and how he sees his future, that is hard to see as anything but grim.
500. I thought there'd be more by now. I don't. I feel like I should have more crit kills, considering most of my kills are crit kills. Maybe I just don't get it. Maybe I don't understand. Thankfully, I already have the Asvel done, so I can just do, what's it called? I can immediately go hit up the baseball bat and whatnot. God, assault rifles are just so much better. So much better to run an assault rifle. Let's switch it up.
No attempts to provide social nourishment. No social gatherings, no going out. Isolation.
Come down and give your lover a kiss.
Social inexperience, anger, malice, and a sudden rise to popularity. This is the recipe for Alex Mahan, known as the Yandere Dev. The moniker derived from his creation, Yandere Simulator, a game that, similar to Alexander, is incomplete. Per lengthy forum post to his current day postings, he has never been able to find a lasting partner. What has followed him instead has been history that haunts him. Posts about wanting to attack his parents, many damning accusations, varying opinions on promiscuous women, and a fascination with the video game character Samus Aran. Now all remembered because of his recent, illicit conversations with a 16-year-old.
Yeah, you're very skinny and that's kind of...
Him being 35, more than twice her age, did not win favor with the community he was attempting to repair relations with. This, as it were, is the tip of the iceberg. Many tackle only pieces of Yandere Dev, but this video will cover his expansive history to present day. In 1997, developing alongside Alexander, who was 9 at the time, was a new term, involuntary celibate. First found in a support website ran by a woman in her mid-20s simply known as Alana. Alana's involuntary celibate project, as it was called, was intended as a support group for those who felt marginalized by society. As the website grew, the term involuntary celibate was shortened to incel, then as per a suggestion, was shortened for the easier spoken and now popular incel. The website itself saw some success, and not just as a support group, but also as a website where a few members found each other and developed relationships. Its significance now is boiled down to its coined term, and precursor to something vile. 3 years later, now the year 2000, Alana abandoned the project, and the term, alongside Alexander, swayed from their intent courses. What was once a simple slang as a combination of two words, involuntary celibate, has been overtaken by a culture and a derisive definition. As per the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, an incel is, quote, a person, usually a man, who regards himself or herself as being involuntary celibate and typically expresses extreme resentment and hostility towards those who are sexually active, unquote. Alexander would grow into this definition, beginning, as he believes, at the age of 12, when he was enrolled in an independent study program, akin to homeschooling. While Alex isn't very vocal about it, nor the reason he was being homeschooled after elementary school, users state that it was because of bullying, though it is difficult to confirm because a source is never provided. Homeschooling, when it comes to development, needs foremost social nourishment. Only so much can be absorbed through one's parents or siblings. Typically, peers will fill this role as children learn from a diverse range of personalities. From here, they can learn how to communicate with one another, how not to communicate. While not everyone is proficient in communication and social understanding, even with attending public schools, those that are homeschooled can be at a greater risk of being socially malnourished. These can be offset by enrolling oneself in activities and clubs where one can socially develop among peers. But what happens when there are no attempts to provide social nourishment? No social gatherings, no going out, no friends. The only way of learning how humans interact is through media. With social media not very present in the year 2000, Alex had less options. Quote, "I've watched countless box sets of anime and played through a countless number of video games. Coupled with my only world experiences being in elementary school, this did not paint a very good picture of what the world is like for me." Unquote. The excessive expressiveness in media and the unrealistic nature of scenarios that play out in works of fiction do not seem as such for Alex. He had a skewed picture of the outside world. He was a foreigner everywhere but his home. Perhaps that was felt as he began relating his struggles with foreign works. Animes, with a larger emphasis on those socially disconnected, resonate stronger. The Evangelion series comes to mind as its protagonist Shinji struggles with his past traumas, lack of connection, and crushing responsibilities. This anime is hailed as a masterpiece for its depiction of human emotions set in a cruel world where it would be hard to be anything but depressed. These topics allowed a pinhole view into understanding human relationships a bit more accurately than media that curtails harsher topics for the sake of escapism. As Alexander grew, he longed for the connections others had, as the themes of friendships and relationships were ever present in media. Yet in his personal life, never felt any closer. This changed somewhat with the advent of the internet. Though it was present for several years at this point, its evolution allowed for larger, more complex forums. Similar to Lana's involuntary celibate project, these attracted users that found it difficult to find those with shared interest in person. Whether it was video games, comic fan sites, anime sites, it was certain to exist on the internet, like animemusicvideos.org. Alex, now 16 years old, found this forum and has one of the earliest posts from his, at the time, online alias Ava Zephon, created on May 8, 2004. The Ava is taken from Evangelion, and the Zephon is taken from the anime Ra-Zephon, which is similar to Evangelion. Originally, he joined because he wanted to make an anime music video. As for this post, where he was struggling to understand the guide in what is primitive editing and translating music on video, as was popular in virtually all subcultures in the 2000s. In fairness, the guide is not as clear as it should be with its technical lingo, especially at an introductory level. The first response was by a user named Absolute Destiny, referring Alex to a section of the guide. Alex then responds with a section, showing its lack of clarity. Now, Absolute Destiny, understanding Alex's problem, gives a detailed breakdown of what to do, and Alex is elated. 2 more topics were made over 2 days. Alex required guidance. The commenters were as helpful, and Alex appeared to be grateful, but there was some friction in his communication with trying to get users to understand his problem. And as others would find out, this was an issue for him. Proposing a new rule now. I don't mean to formally challenge the administrators with this topic, but I'd like to share some of my thoughts. I'm not mad at the guides. However, I'm mad that everyone thinks that they can solve a problem by telling someone to go read a guide. I didn't come to this forum or that forum to have someone tell me to read a guide. I came to a forum to get my question answered by someone. Think that maybe there should be some sort of rule along these lines. If you know the answer to someone's query, then if you're going to reply to their post, tell them the answer to the question. Do not direct them to a guide. Either that, or there should be a forum dedicated to help making an A and B. Why isn't there one already? I'm sorry if I was too fired up or offended any guide authors in this post. I just don't want to keep on making new posts on topics every time I run into yet another problem because no one helped me adequately because they all told me to read a guide." Unquote. This combativeness from Alex from a forum attempting to assist him got mixed reactions. Some were understanding of his frustration. Others diagnosed him as the problem, specifically in his lack of clarity in defining what he needs assistance with. This was the first instance on this forum of Alex's policing or wanting control where none belongs to him. Yet there was not much hostility from either side, at least not on this forum. Instead, here, he was very expressive about his desires. On a topic created to share sexy/hot screen caps of anime characters, Alex responded to one of the posters with, quote, "It's hot and sexy and I've ejaculated many times to it. Got any more like it?" Unquote. The infancy of the internet and the concept of permanence was not felt, which is why posts like this one exist. Quote, this reminds me of a guy who had a 2-foot-tall statue of Rei Ayanami. He said he bought it for $250, which sounds a lot better than what they seem to be charging for the doll up above. Man, I love seeing those life-size anime dolls. This post was dated May 29, 2004. Rei Ayanami is a female character from Evangelion that Alex showed increasing interest in. In December of that year, he stated, quote, I dig weak and submissive girls. Give me Rei. She wouldn't say no. Hell, she does whatever she's ordered to. Use your imagination. Unquote. Rei Ayanami from Evangelion is canonically 14 years old. Alex, at the time posting this, was 16. He was expressing his desires, developing interest in others, the only way he feasibly could. While most develop crushes and interact with humans, Alex had only a digital escape. Quote, 16 here, and my raging, out-of-control hormones demand an entire forum for the posting of various forms of sexy screen caps. Unquote. This faux and shallow imagery, exciting but fleeting, was meaningless. As Alex searched and peeled away layers of the internet for art that pleased him, he knew there were limits to this experience. Not soon after came a depression and anger that joined in that realization. Quote, I am suicidal, and if it weren't for anime, I would have killed myself by now. Unquote. Alexander did not have many outlets, but he did have access to the ever-expanding internet where early forms of social media were popping up. The most well-known was MySpace. While this website did seem to pioneer popular elements such as the customization of a user's homepage, there were websites created even before MySpace capturing a different market entirely. One such was Gaia Online. Where MySpace grew because of its simplicity and ease of access, Gaia Online flourished within anime and gaming communities as it evolved to be more interactive via events. That and rudimentary locations players could socialize using their avatars. This also created distance and anonymity. In Gaia, you could be anyone, making it easier to talk about anything. And Alex, recently joining the website in 2005, had a building frustration and insecurity he could not shake. On the forum section of the website he posted, quote, I hope that it will not make me sound too desperate to say this, but I have been worried if I am the type of guy whom a girl would ever consider dating. I'm going to describe myself as honestly as possible, and then I'd like to know if I sound like it would ever be possible for me to find a girlfriend, unquote. Alex continues by stating what he states are his positive qualities. He, quote, always tries to speak or act without offending anyone, unquote. He is sweet, a romantic guy, a gentleman who is open-minded, tolerant, not very judgmental at all. As for his flaws, clear by the creation of this post, he is not very confident. Alex may know this by his love of Japan, that he exhibits the early signs of a hikikomori, a NEET, a shut-in, different words that share the quality of those that withdraw from society. In Japan, this is an increasing issue. As more and more young adults withdraw from society, as they drop out of school, they don't see work. They stay at home all day, repeating the same day, only existing to consume. No matter how much it is desired, a fear and anxiety of entering the outside world becomes crushing. In Japan, this issue was caused by various reasons, some being related to mental illness, where families of those mentally ill, in place of being homeless, will hide them from the world. After all, Japan has a phenomenally low homeless population. There's also the crunch culture and the pressure placed on succeeding to find a salary job, where the importance does not entirely lie in the money. Though inflation does play a part in working longer hours, these salaried jobs are oftentimes secondary families. Workers spend so much time it becomes the prime area of socialization. Other aspects of Japan, like its distant culture, its desire for conformity, makes this issue worse. While the US doesn't have as much of a problem with NEETs or those who are not employed in education or training, it does have less support for those that might find themselves in these positions. These are the social influences. The psychological are much more complex. Alex can be seen as a standard case, except it is unknown if he is the one that desired his homeschooling or if it was the decision of his parents. Regardless, as he consumes anime and other media, it weighs on him more the experiences he never had. In this post, there is a fictional Vincent who is role-playing kissing a woman. Alex reacts by replying, quote, after reading that post, I felt really crappy. Sad about how I've never had any sort of experience with a girl. Man, I feel so jealous. I feel like a loser saying this, but I cried. Man, I seriously cried. I'm asking for your help. I feel like utter crap about this, and I don't know what to do. I've considered killing myself. Any advice? How do I get over this? Unquote. He already feels rejected and displays insecurity because of those missed experiences. He feels himself a lesser human being because he has not had a girlfriend, and to be accepted within society means to be vetted by having a girlfriend according to him. This delves into the infamous side of incel rhetoric. In 2005, it was hard to say which way he would go. He was only 17 and this insecurity and resentment was only just starting. On Gaia, he continued to seek acceptance and get opinions on his looks. This is why he posted this image of himself. Alex's saving grace was that he was not neat. He may have been socially withdrawn, but he was still being homeschooled. He did sometimes also go out with his female cousin that he often talks about, and sometimes with his parents. In this post, he talks about going to a local anime convention with both his father and his cousin. But what comes after? After he was done with high school, online college was not a viable option in 2005. He has, as per his extreme exposure of it, held interest in digital entertainment. From anime to games, he has showed interest in creating something similar. He has talked about his budding Photoshop abilities, created questionable fan fiction, and apparently even made an anime-based dating simulator. Alex had his interests. There are things he wanted to do. The issue now is leaving the safety and security of his room and attending college in person, something he really did not want to do. Quote, my dad is obsessed with my getting into college. He is obsessed with the thought of college, harassing me about it all day long, and even personally insulting me whenever I disagree with him. I hate him so much. I don't love my father anymore. He is an redacted. He is so mean to me. I wish I could disappear from my life. I want to make him disappear from my life. I want to kill him. I want to kill him with my bare hands. I always fantasize about using a knife while he's sleeping. I sneak into his room and plunge a knife right into his throat. Stab him over and over and over while screaming at him, what a horrible father. What a horrible person he is. And right as he realizes it's me, he'll die. Then I'll have to kill my mom. She's a total redacted anyway. I'd like if she died too. Unquote. These emotions and fantasies are not typical, but they can be for those socially withdrawn. In Japan, neets, as their parents retire, are not able to support them. So after decades of staying indoors, the neets have to enter the workforce to survive. The turmoil is so great that these emotions materialize in different ways. Alex is exhibiting anger, which seems to be common. Some people that are more than twice as old as Alex, that have spent their entire lives indoors, opt to kill their parents than themselves. While not common, these are true horror stories that drive fear in the hearts of the Japanese, and create more pressure in trying to integrate their children into society. Fortunately, besides a different post thinking he may become a serial killer, these feelings, now mid-2006, subsided, but not his growing displeasure of what he deems the loss of the public school experience. Quote, in a mere 4 months, I will be 18 years old, and high school will be over in less than that. I'm really sad because I will no longer be in the same place as my favorite anime characters. I will no longer be able to experience any of the things they are experiencing, and will no longer be the same age as them. All of the high school anime I watched from that point on will leave me nostalgic for high school, and wishing that I'd been able to experience it as the characters had. I don't have any friends, I've never had a girlfriend or gone to a party or done any of the fun things most kids my age have done dozens of times. I pretty much wasted my entire childhood. Watching high school anime makes me really jealous of the characters who got to have such fun childhoods and high school experiences. Unquote. To that, Alex states his optimal partner would be just as socially awkward as him. Quote, in this fantasy, there is a girl who always stays home, has spent most of her life reading and listening to music, and is horrified when she finally goes to high school. Then her and I meet one another. Unquote. He repeatedly, across several forum posts for the Losers webcomic, described what his optimal partner would be. Someone who has no sexual experience, someone who is innocent and socially inexperienced as well. He goes as far to say that he harbors hatred for promiscuous women. Finding out that women have those strong desires has caused conflict, as he never knew they could be like that. After much reprimanding from other forum members, he grew to tolerate them. And then, just a month after stating his dislike of them, he, on May 8, 2006, as has become patterned, asked if someone in his situation has a chance to have sex. Quote, do you think that if this guy met a slutty girl, he would have a good shot at convincing her to have sex with him? It wouldn't be quote-unquote pity sex. It wouldn't be sex just because you felt sorry for him. It'd be sex to help him and cheer him up and make his dreams come true. Unquote. Alex describes himself as innocent, hating all that he perceives vulgar, like mean people or people that use swear words. Yet one of his accounts was seen asking questions on how to progress in the 2006 video game Replay. The player assaults a 42-year-old mother and her 17 and 12-year-old daughter. There is dissonance in what Alex deems to be a model person. He even stated in a different post that he is, quote, sexually frustrated. Yes, Higher in terms of moral certitude, yes, unquote. Alex appears to be shifting the blame for his lack of sexual activity to not his lack of socialization or his inability. Instead, it's just him being selective, and while he tolerates promiscuous women, he will never, quote, pursue a romantic relationship with them, unquote. In another post, he goes as far to state, quote, I'm saying that I could not easily be attracted to a girl whose virginity was taken by another man, unquote. At this point, Alex had begun taking classes at Santa Monica College to learn animation. His exposure to the public was not helping him integrate, it was having the adverse effect. Quote, I saw so many couples today. They were putting their arms around one another and holding each other's hands, and even kissing. I almost cried. That sort of thing should be illegal, unquote. His continued negativity and hatred bled into his forum posts. Not only was he not integrating well in his college, online, his vitriolic posts were getting criticized. In December 2006, he went on several tirades about how much he despises mean people. And when he got criticized, instead of digesting the criticism, he states, quote, other people were mean to me, which made me want to defend my points strongly. As people became more and more mean, I became more extreme in my defense of my beliefs. I don't have a distorted view of women and sex. I got over my confusion a long time ago, but I defended extreme beliefs about women and sex just because everyone was being so mean, unquote. There was something that rang true in the statement in that Alex, when criticism is brought forth, he reciprocates negativity rather than attempting to understand. This part of him will not change. In a different post, still in December, he states it would be optimal to exterminate all mean people. That same day, he stated that shootings can be justified if only bullies are harmed. This combative attitude and hatred were making Alex more marginalized in an already marginalized space. These constant disagreements allowed him to understand how little his views were fitting in. As for 2007, besides expanding on his already expansive website comparing Evangelion to Razefon, that is a 17-page breakdown, Alex again became a bit more at peace with his emotions. So far, every time it appears he's about to go over the edge and do something drastic, he takes a step back and reevaluates and calms down, wanting to learn and improve. On Gaia, in October of 2007, he stated, quote, over the past 2 years, I had developed a lot, and I've learned how to be around people. I can talk with people and interact with them much easier now. But still, nobody really looks at me unless I speak up or ask me questions or talks to me unless I initiated the conversation. They're all concerned with each other, and it seems like nobody really cares about me. The other thing that's getting me down is that no girls are ever interested in me. Occasionally, I'll try to say something flattering and complimentary, and the girl's expression and body language will change, and I can tell that it freaked him out a little. Today, I spent a few minutes with one of my friends and a female friend of his. She told us a funny story where this really creepy guy was hitting on her, and it bothered her a lot. I saw parallels to my own situation, unquote. He ends the post, once again asking for advice. While the replies try to cheer Alex up, it does not help as Alex responds with, quote, I am extremely anxious about not having a girlfriend. It is my greatest insecurity, unquote. At the end of 2007, Alex vented more on a different forum, one that he made an account for earlier in that year. On the suicide forum, he posted, quote, I'm insecure, anxious, lonely, and I lack confidence. I have nothing to live for, unquote. This post can be summed up with these two sentences. Quote, nobody wants to be friends with me. No girl wants to call me hers. My life is and always has been a giant disappointment, unquote. On Gaia, he announced his New Year resolution. Quote, my New Year resolution is to finally get a girlfriend. But when I say New Year's, I don't mean for 2008. That has been my resolution for the past 5 years. Since I was 14, I've wanted a girlfriend. I'm 19 now, and I've never had a girlfriend. I've never gone on a date with a girl or kissed a girl. No girl has ever been interested in me or given me a chance. I would keep the same resolution for the next year, but if I haven't had a girlfriend by now, what's the point? I don't think any girl will ever desire me. I think I'll be alone for the rest of my life, unquote. There are more than 3 pages of topics Alex made, reiterating his desperation. I eat alone, sleep alone, study alone. Or, all girls who refuse to date me contribute to my problems. Where can I find slutty girls who like to fool around? The last topic specifically sparked a new page. Not only was he accepting of promiscuous women, he was now seeking them, going as far as to message random women on MySpace. The first 3 comments responding to Alex's announcement of this strategy read, quote, you need help, frowny face. Personally, I think that's sort of tacky. I doubt you'll touch a real boob ever, unquote. 2 days later, he came back sharing his results. Quote, 7 girls read the message and did not respond. 4 girls have not yet read the message. 2 girls responded and said they were cool with hooking up with guys. I told them I live within 5 miles and was interested in meeting them. I'm waiting for a response, unquote. Nothing came of this. Alex also tried a Craigslist posting. After 4 days of no responses, he came back asking for advice yet again. Quote, "Is there something unappealing about my post? How come nobody at all responded?" Unquote. Because of these unsuccessful ventures, Alex sought out advice ravenously on Gaia. After about 50 posts or so, he posted 3 images of himself. While the images are gone on the original page, they still exist in an archive. That remains true for this video titled, "All of Zero Suit Samus's Sexy Moves in 4x Slow Motion."
No. Why is that what you post? Why? Why, bro?
That was a compilation of the protagonists from the Metroid game series, stripped from her armor, performing attacks in the newly released fighting game Super Smash Bros. Brawl, uploaded on none other than the Ava Zephon YouTube channel. Though it was host to many random games and anime videos and clips, that video is one of the few that now remain private on the channel. As for his new attempts to find a partner, the lowering of his standards, subjecting himself to strategies that he would previously deem vulgar, must have taken its toll, as his desperation was reaching new heights without sufficient results. Alex felt doomed to remain single, as if it was a method of torture administered intentionally, only brought to a change in mood, where, by his own words, was in heaven. Quote, "I've been hanging out with a girl lately, and because I had never even had my first kiss with a girl, she responded by telling me she thought I was really cute, and asked me if I'd like to have my first kiss with her. I said yes, and we kissed. She made out with me really passionately, and let me touch her chest." Alex then details that they were interrupted by a friend who had shown up as they had previously planned to see a show. The conflict here is what she told Alex. Quote, "I want to make something clear. Even though I really like you, I don't want to be anyone's girlfriend. I've always tried to avoid that title." Unquote. Though Alex was ecstatic to have his perception of himself changed from unattractive to cute from a girl he states is, quote, "the most attractive girl I've seen at college," he had only a brush with quote-unquote heaven and did not want to pursue her strongly to avoid coming off as creepy, especially after being given her stance on the matter. A month went by and Alex gave no updates. He was, however, showing interest in other girls. This post on Gaia simply reads, "Resolved." It is an edit later made to hide the original post. Looking at the first reply, quote, "I see you're a redacted, how's that working out for you?" Unquote. Then a third and fourth set a tone of readers being in opposition of Alex, calling him creepy and stalker-like. The first post may have been wiped, but Alex's replies still remain. On page 2 of this topic, Alex posted a picture of a girl with text that reads, quote, "Sigh, some girls are so hot. I really hope that one day a girl like that actually speaks to me. I'd trade anything in the world for the chance to kiss a girl like that. Sigh, why do pretty girls always avoid me?" Unquote. As strong as the masses voiced their opposition of Alex obsessing over this person, he persisted regardless. Reconstructing this post using the replies tells of Alex finding a girl, possibly on a social media website, seeing that some of her interests align with his, messaged her stating something along the lines of they would be perfect together. Additionally, on page 13, a commenter states, quote, "The fact that she is in high school and you aren't, some people aren't interested in making friends like that." Unquote. This wasn't the only post that Alex both wiped the original title and conflicted with the replies, some thinking his rants were so absurd that he must have been a troll. This time, as per Alex's replies, he states, quote, "Involuntary celibacy has many negative consequences, and one of them, ridicule from other people, can be observed quite clearly here." Unquote. From this and others' replies focusing on involuntary celibacy, we can deduce that the topic was on Alex deeming himself an incel. The lukewarm to negative responses allude to Alex complaining about his position. His self-deprecating nature returned with fury, and in a different post on the suicide forums, he gave the reason why. Quote, 2 months ago I met the most interesting, intelligent, beautiful, sexy, and overall enchanting woman I will ever meet. During the time that she was expressing desire for me, all of my self-loathing and lack of confidence was buried and visible. While I was with her, I was happy and confident and proud of myself, and now that she is gone, all of my insecurities has returned. We stayed in touch after she told me that there would not be anything between us. A while ago, I hinted at the idea of a relationship between us. She simply said, "That ship sailed a long time ago." Her feelings for me are now gone. I know that there is nothing I can do about her, nothing I can do to fix things or make her change her mind. But what am I going to do with myself? Unquote. In place of that would-be relationship, he showed interest in a different woman like he had never had before. On the Smashboard forums for the game series Super Smash Bros, he posted, quote, "Sub Smashboards, longtime Smasher, first-time poster. I made this video a few months ago, and only now did it finally occur to me that Smashboards might be interested in it. It's a 10-minute long video of Zero Suit Samus's moves in 4 times slow motion. I hope you have as much fun watching this video as I did making it," unquote. That video was of Zero Suit Samus. The second attached was a new one. The trail does not end there, as Alex is seen thanking the person who created the Zero Suit Samus model for Gary's Mod, that Alex had now got working in Maya, an animation program that he likely began learning in college. Alex's habits, as he entered 2009, stayed. His proclivity to all things anime and gaming in the online space didn't see any less involvement from him. Now, the internet had reached a point that video could be streamed live, not rendered or even requiring download for viewership. Those with generous connection could join creators and their streams and participate in their communities via attached chat rooms. Alex, in January of 2009, tried his hand at this, recalling Resident Evil 4 as the first game he streamed. His personal website, avazephon.com, had hosted more than just comparisons of 2 animes. It hosted a game project where the protagonist was a clear recolor of art of Zero Suit Samus, and now his livestream known as Ava Vidya. There exist many anecdotes describing Alex's streams as perverse and rage-fueled. Even Alex's recollection of his time fits others' descriptions of temper tantrums, excessive talk about his loneliness, and hyper-focus on viewers that outed themselves as female. He, likely due to a lack of options, quickly got an audience of 100 or so people a night. These things aligned universally in statements describing Alex during this time, including a stream made directly in opposition of Alex. Except for one claim, one that could ruin any future endeavor if proved without a doubt. One big mess of anecdotes, screenshots, arguments trying to prove who Sisef was, what Alex had her allegedly do, and a different underage girl that sent Alex and chat members nudes. To start, there is much evidence from those trying to prove this alleged Sisef's claims against Alex, yet there is enough missing information that gives Alex breathing room to counter these claims. Then there is much speculation from both sides that jumble what is already a mess. This is the summarized story from Sisef's side. Quote, "The summary is that I met him on his video game channel when I was 14 and he was 21. He asked me to date him, knowing my age, even viewing it as a plus. I was young and naive and starved for attention because of my broken home. So feeling flattered and valued, I said yes. We had many sexually explicit conversations and webcam sessions where he would do things in front of the camera while I responded on my mic with sounds he wanted me to make. And he asked me for nudes in certain positions, etc. Eventually, I started to feel like he was just using me because he was only ever interested in sex, and his constant clinginess and controlling behavior made me feel claustrophobic. I eventually just broke up with him when he made a comment about not seeing us lasting much longer. He tried to beg me to come back first, and when I didn't, he banned me from his stream. A few of the regulars took my side, and we started a new channel where we could hang out away from him," unquote. As a counter, there is this live chat log he had with a woman from OkCupid where Alex talks about Sisefs and states, quote, "Sisefs was a girl who flirted with me online. I flirted with her back. She seemed cool at first, but it turned out that she wasn't cool at all. She did a bunch of bad stuff, like she lied about her age, and she started a website to give people a place to say bad things about me. And her parents took away her internet privileges because she was taking nude pictures of herself and sending them out to random people. She sent me her nude pictures, and she sent them to like 100 other people too. And somehow this means Ava Zephon requested redacted from minors," unquote. These, at their core, are 2 contradicting statements the parties hold. Then there's also these images the alleged Sisefs uploaded of her in 2009 to prove her existence. Most important is the I Heart Ava written on her fingers. That would be very damning if it was I Heart Ava Zephon and not just I Heart Ava, which can also be construed as Evangelion as it was and still is a popular anime. Then there were additional photos of the chat room. Her, with the headset on, also increased the possibility of her claims. There is much more evidence, but never anything that is conclusive. Most of the evidence is anecdotal or relies too much on Alex's character, and Alex's evidence to disprove Sisef's claims is equally unreliable, and sometimes contradictory, like these emails claiming Sisef never existed and was just a troll the entire time. The only people who know the truth are Alex and the alleged Sisefs. As for Alex, it was no secret that he is a sexual deviant. In all of his interests, he could find a sexual side, and so in his alternate channel, Zeph Ava, he has videos on Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. 6 back-to-back are entirely on the 16-year-old Paz Ortega. 1 is on how to seduce her. The rest are also sexually charged. On this channel, he also has, albeit short, 5 videos on the game Rock Band, where he has made all the members women in bikinis, and that's it. This channel also has a video with every cutscene of Zero Suit Samus in the game Metroid Other M. Besides videos of E3 and Anime Expo, it has clips of random games with interesting happenings like glitches, and is for all intents and purposes an accurate portrayal of the mind of Alex.
Shoot you in the crotch.
Even with all these videos considered, they pale in comparison to his other works, namely his fan fiction, proving both his unchanging nature of needing to sexually charge other works and sexual deviancy that has remained strong. Trying to tell a mostly serious story with constant mention of breast and sexually explicit material. On October 31st, 2005, Alex began writing a Soul Calibur fanfiction titled I Am Your Slave. These works, considering they are typically creative outlets with no incentive beyond expression, are expectedly abandoned. Alex was the exception. Nearly 4 years, 59 chapters, and over 300,000 words later, the work was finished. Totaling 350,223 words, this was more than a full-length novel. If converted to a book, that's 1,400 double-spaced pages. Perhaps this was a distraction to help him forget about what he deemed as his shortcomings. The same month this was published, he was again ranting about losing the opportunity with the girl he made out with. As cyclical as Alex's life was, the background elements were progressing, because after 3 years, he graduated from Santa Monica College with an Associate of Arts, Animation, Interactive Technology, Video Graphics, and Special Effects. This is essentially animation with game development. There was no job waiting for him after graduation, so filling the time, he streamed and continued to get notoriety for his sour personality. There exists a 29-second video where Alexander toasts who is presumably a friend for pirating Warcraft 3. In his hand is a goblet of milk that he sips. The audio won't be played because Alex wants to hide this and copyright strikes any copy of it. He even attempts to copyright claim transformative works that in turn bring attention to them. The earliest recreation of him sipping the goblet dates back all the way to February of 2010. Having a poor reputation about non-stop discussion of his sexual frustration birthed this.
I have never had sex. Toaster.
Stalwart in desires, Alex did not relent. He pressed on and attempted to legitimize his writing by not going under Ava Zephon, but his real name, Alex Mahan, as an quote-unquote LA Video Game Babes Examiner that could be found on Examiner.com. Videos uploaded here are the same ones uploaded on his secondary YouTube channel, Zephon Ava, like his video on the Chrome Angels seen on the 2008 Game Awards. Investigating these works could have helped early detractors put together Alex's online identity. Nothing more telling than this article titled Samus Aran, From Role Model to Sex Object. Here is an excerpt where, taking into account Alex's obsession with this character, develops a rather unexpected argument. Quote, for so long, Samus had always been the exact opposite of the most common female archetype in video games. The stereotypical sexy babe, wearing minimal clothing while striking provocative poses at every chance. And now, Samus herself, once the very poster child for respectable female leads, has joined the ranks of such bimbos. As of the introduction of the Zero suit, Samus Aran has lost all mystique. Her face, once a closely guarded secret, is now bared freely, and she wears a form-fitting, skin-tight suit that tightly hugs the curves of her shapely body. She is perfectly ideal, highly attractive, and the most sexually appealing Nintendo character in years, a drastic change from whom she once was. While you will hear no complaints from enthusiasts of the female form, Samus Aran's previous character has been vandalized. She is no longer a woman, but a sexualized woman. It is disrespectful towards Samus to exploit her gender by adding sexuality to what was once an almost genderless character. While fans of the series hope that this trend will not continue, the trailer for the upcoming Metroid Other M reveals that Samus will once again be making frequent appearances out of a robotic armor for all to see. Unquote. Alex would not detach from his roots, and so this year he attended Anime Expo.
In case you were wondering what it's like to be at Anime Expo, this is what it looks like.
The trip could have been a networking venture because about a month later, in late 2010, he landed a job at a game development company known as Kung Fu Factory. Despite having less time due to longer hours of work and not being able to stream as much as he used to, there exist recordings of the few streams he did during this time. One of them are on the day of the release of the PlayStation Move. While primitive, his setup was functional, even complete with a webcam. Those that joined late would find Alex playing shirtless, a choice influenced by the heat of his living quarters. It was on this stream where Alex reveals that, even though his education laid in animation, he was being hired on as a quality assurance junior game designer.
I'm unhappy because my 3D animation ability is not, I don't think it's going to meet their standards. I don't think they're going to be hiring me on as an animator. Junior game designer, yes. Junior game designer, quality assurance lead, maybe junior animator. Maybe I'll get to do the crappy animations because the more skilled animators are too busy doing important things to bother with that crap.
Eventually, his lack of ability in animation would be damning. That, and this Reddit post from a user that goes under "What happened to Ava Zeph?" This is either an excellent troll who is aware of Alexander's job, his style of ranting, and his descriptive insecurities, or it is Alex. And he posted on Reddit, "No woman could ever love me. I must choose between a life of hookers or a life with a real doll. Which should I choose?" The crux of this post is in the last paragraph. Quote, "A real doll is $6,500, but will get a lot of use every day for the rest of my life. A hooker is much cheaper. But even if I only used a hooker once a week or once a month, the cost would easily outweigh a real doll within a year. A real doll is the most financially prudent choice, but a hooker is flesh and blood." Unquote. A real doll, as the name implies, is a life-size sex doll. A real doll that costs that much would be one of high quality, and thus the price would be too steep, for now. Even without this information in the public space, Alex was gaining infamy like never before. There are many anecdotes of him ruling over his streams with an iron fist. Some of his rules demonstrate this, like his strange selection of bad words. While some are common, like the N or F word, others are chosen only due to their repetition in his chat, like variations of lag, internet lingo like pliz, plox, or in-before, and wording that implies suggestions, such as should've, could've, would've, must've. His online activity, a trail of combativeness and sexual deviancy, were taking form in simple articles and discussions. The first of importance is this one titled, "Gamers Are Embarrassing." Alex Mahan. A study in gamer embarrassment. Posted April 11, 2011, this reads, quote, "He lists himself as an LA Games babe examiner, which is something no one should ever list themselves as. He apparently writes copious amounts about the various babes in gaming. Apparently, hundreds of articles dedicated to various women in gaming, from all facets of the embarrassing gamer world. From horrible figurines to cosplay to just appreciating in-game models. There is so much to cover here, and I can't even begin to scratch the surface. This guy is pretty much single-handedly